It appears that the leftists of New York City have begun to boogaloo once again. But with this, we have to realize that in some ways, they very well have justification. The thing that we need to understand is the reason would be, which would be that of a recent shooting, and oh my god, did this unfurl into a cavalcade of fuckery to say the least. What we can understand is what caused it possibly. Well, you see, there was a man on the train who had evaded police already, got into the train itself, threatened to stab numerous people on that train, and in doing so, we see police then respond, they arrive, they go to subdue the man, he tries to flee numerous times, he is then tased, and upon the taser not working effectively because it was effectively useless, what do we see? The man then lunges at the police officer with a knife in hand, and then the cop draws his sidearm after retreating backwards. He then fires his sidearm at this man numerous times after having roughly 2 seconds. And the thing that's so fucking insane about this is that while this could have been called a good shoot by many people, what we need to address is the nature of the bystanders who were harmed because of this police officer not taking into account what was behind what he was shooting at. Do you not understand the base level fundamentals of what you should think of when pointing a gun at someone? Is that not something that you considered that you should worry about what's behind the target you're aiming at? Because as he laid this volley of bullets toward this man, it appears that he ended up also shooting someone in the head. Isn't that just fucking remarkable? So you see the fact of these leftists boogalooing, but they're not doing so over the fact of what matters most, which is this cop accidentally shooting an innocent person in the head while trying to stop a criminal. No, their fealty is to that of the criminal. This situation is absolutely ridiculous. Let's go ahead, jump in, and see what we've got with this body cam footage.
Don't touch me! Wrong shot!
Hold it
Don't!
Sir, get away there.
Don't touch me.
Put it down.
Don't touch me.
Put it down.
Put it down. Shoot! Put it like that. Shoot! Put it like that. Yo!
Taser! Taser! Watch out. Shit!
Shoot!
Shit! Put it down!
Put it down!
I'm shot! Put it down! Put it down!
Jumping in now with NBC News, we see 4 shot at Brooklyn train station when officers opened fire at knife-wielding man. A 49-year-old bystander was hospitalized in critical condition following the shooting that began when police officers confronted a man trying to evade the fare, authorities said. So let's just go ahead and start off with the fact that this whole thing began with a $2.90 turnstile fee evasion, and police then pursued this man. Of course, he then did proceed to threaten people on the train with his knife. God knows why. What we can understand would be what? That, well, because of the fact of how the police handled this situation, we saw the nature of the escalation that ended up leading to 4 people being shot, with 1 being shot in the head who is now in critical condition. A 49-year-old bystander was hospitalized in critical condition following the shooting that began when police officers confronted a man trying to evade the fare, authorities said. And like I already stated, that fare being $2.90, think about what it is that we're grappling with here. Jumping on now, here we see from the New York Times, NYPD's release of footage of subway shooting doesn't quell anger. And no, you can understand why it wouldn't. In many ways, this could be considered a good shoot based on the factor of what was going on with the police officer being charged, but with the total callous disregard for human life that is outside the parameters of the object of your focus, as the police officer was dealing with, truly highlights the nature of how this is not anything close to a good shoot. Here we see, after seeing the video of officers firing at a knife-wielding man, which you've already seen, the cousin of a bystander who was badly hurt in the shooting continues to criticize people. And as you would understand, as the police most certainly deserve criticism for their handling of this situation. Here we see newly released video footage of New York City police officers opening fire on a knife-wielding man at a Brooklyn subway station did not quell anger over their inadvertent shooting of two bystanders, including one who was hit in the head during the burst of gunfire. The police made the edited 17-minute video public on Friday amid substantial criticism of the shooting. The graphic footage, captured by cameras worn by the two officers and others in the station and on a subway car, shows a confrontation that began with a man entering the system without paying the two officers confronting him about it. The initial encounter ended with the man Daryl Mickles going out through the turnstile while holding what appears to be an open folding knife in his right hand, while other officers follow him at a short distance, the video shows. A second encounter that began about 10 minutes later ended with Mr. Mickles, an officer, and two bystanders wounded. The shooting at the Sutter Avenue L train station last Saturday is being examined by the police department's Force Investigation Division and the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office. Police leaders and Mayor Eric Adams have said that the shooting was justified under the department's rules because Mr. Mickles had a weapon and threatened the officers with it. Critics have accused the police of overreacting in a dangerous way and escalating what began as the enforcement of the minor offense of fare evasion into unnecessary violence. And that's me. I'm a critic of this situation. Granted, we'll tear into the minutiae of this rather than just being, oh, police bad, because there is a nature of how you could see this evolving into violence and a shooting that would have possibly been seen as a justified shooting because he could have been, I don't know, shooting this man to stop him from harming other people because he was wielding this knife or saving his own life. But as we know, in the process of doing so and putting this man down, you inadvertently shot an innocent woman and an innocent man in the head, and the fact that a fellow police officer was also hit is just absolutely insane. What level of fucking ridiculousness are we dealing with in this situation that we got to this point? What level of training is it that you were put through that had you operating in such an inept fashion that put us to the precipice of the situation that we are now in? Anyways, nonetheless, I digress. Those critics include the family of the man who was shot in the head, Gregory Del Pesce. Mr. Del Pesce, a 49-year-old city hospital worker, remained in critical condition on Friday. Minutes after the footage was released, his family huddled around a phone near the Sutter Avenue station and watched the video for the first time before holding a news conference. After seeing the video, Greg Nugis, Mr. Del Pesce's cousin, said that the explanations from police leaders and the mayor about why officers had fired their guns did not make sense. The footage does not show how Mr. Del Pesce and the second bystander, a 26-year-old woman who was grazed by the bullet, were shot. And no, they didn't. I looked for all of the body cam footage I could find, and none of it actually showed any of that. I just don't understand how the mayor can say that this is justified, Mr. Nugis said. The events that led to the shooting began at around 3 p.m. with Mr. Mickles' first attempt at evading the fare, the footage shows. Two officers, Edmund Mays and Alex Wong, follow him into the station, and he leaves moments later, with what appears to be a knife in hand, footage shows. Just after he jumps the turnstile, two people are also seen entering without paying. So the thing that we need to realize is then there's a call that went out. He was also seen jumping that turnstile along with other people, as we've already talked about. Police then ended up following him because he had the knife in hand, and I believe it was unsheathed already. So that may have been something that had caught their eye. And now we see the fact that this man has been filled with lead. He is no longer in the realm of existence. And we also see that an innocent woman has been shot and another man is in critical condition. The fact that we got to this point is honestly unbelievable, and it's even more staggering to me in the way that this is being called a good shoot, because like I already put out the framing of how this could have been considered one, but what we have to tackle would be the nature of how completely inept these police officers were in handling the situation and being aware of their surroundings and what was behind the target that they were shooting at. This is something that as a gun owner, you have to be aware of. Otherwise, you're putting other people in harm's way with no regard for the fact of what could come after you pull that trigger, which is absolutely despicable. The fact that people like this are police officers operating in a mindset such as this. I totally understand the fact that you're in a tense situation, there's adrenaline rushing, you're trying to save your own life because you're being charged at by a man with a knife. You've already tased him numerous times and it was ineffective, but that does not change the fact that you are supposed to be the person who has control of the situation and is able to discern everything that they need to try and keep everyone possible safe. And that clearly is not what happened in a situation such as this. Jumping on now, here we see CBS News, family of man accidentally shot in NYPD L train shooting wants investigation. Here we jump in. We see family members of the man accidentally shot in the head by the NYPD officers at a Brooklyn subway station are calling for an investigation into the responding officers' actions. And when I see something like this, it just reminds me of the fact of how many times New York police have gotten away with things akin to this, accidentally killing a civilian in the process of pursuing a criminal. And if you need to understand why something like this could happen, you could look no further than an understanding of something like qualified immunity. So let's go ahead and pull up Cornell law real quick and show you what that is so you can have an understanding of why it is police are able to escape scrutiny and persecution from the law many of the times. And then we'll go ahead and finish out this video. Qualified immunity is a type of legal immunity that protects a government official from lawsuits alleging that the official violated a plaintiff's rights, only allowing suits where officials violated a clearly established statutory or constitutional right. Qualified immunity balances two important interests: the need to hold public officials accountable when they exercise power irresponsibly, and the need to shield officials from harassment, distraction, and liability when they perform their duties reasonably. When determining whether a right was clearly established, courts consider whether a hypothetical reasonable official could have known that the defendant's conduct violated the plaintiff's rights. Courts conducting this analysis applied the law that was in force at the time of the alleged violation, not the law in effect when the court considers the case. And there you have qualified immunity, which is something that allows police to go ahead and escape culpability for many of their actions, and they use it as a nebulous web to cast over many of the different situations that police get in to allow them to skate by the culpability and responsibility that they should have for the actions that they take. Alrighty, just to focus on this highlighted bit for a moment, because it truly just blows my mind. You see that body cam footage, and then you read, the suspect accused of pulling out a knife was shot, and one officer was also hit along with two civilians, and then you know one of those civilians was a woman that was hit, and another man was someone who worked in a hospital that was shot in the head. How is it that this even unfolds? But a better question, how is it that the police officer, who was the one who we saw the body cam footage of, was the one screaming, I'm hit, I'm shot? It's like, hello? How is it that you got shot? Did one of your fellow officers hit you? Did you fuck up and shoot yourself? What happened here? I will be doing a follow-up video on this if it comes to anything more interesting unfolding from it, and we can actually see the nature of what truly led the police to fumbling the bag to the degree that they did. But nonetheless, we move on. Here we see Gregory Del Pesce, 49, accidentally shot in the head when his family has said he has now underwent surgery but is fighting for his life in critical condition. Here we see, I believe the NYPD was reckless, his family says, and absolutely true. I couldn't agree more with that statement. Here we see, I saw that it was him and I broke down, Del Pesce's cousin Gregory said. He keeps to himself. Quiet, and he was hardworking. Been with Woodhull Hospital for 20 years. A man who's been working to assist the ill, to take care of those people who no longer have the capability to do it themselves. Someone who works in a hospital is now in critical condition because of the reckless behavior of the police. Absolutely and utterly despicable, and we understand the fact of how something like this can happen, which is only going to lead to protests en masse, which is exactly what we've seen, because there are now protesters littering New York subways because of this fact. Here we see the police response had sparked outrage, leading to demonstrations in Brownsville, including at the Sutter Avenue subway station, where 18 people were arrested on Tuesday night. So now let's go ahead and throw it into that footage from Tuesday night so you can see what's going on. As you see here, the cavalcade of people flooding the New York subway, and they look exactly as you would expect them to, covered in shamags and all of these different things. The thing that I find most remarkable is the fact of how absolutely and utterly predictable the aesthetic of all of these people is, and you can understand the nature of the justification in their mind for why it is that they would be protesting. As I've talked about, I am incredibly critical of the actions of these police officers that they took that led to the ramifications that we now see with one person in critical condition. But the thing that you need to realize is that these people, many of the times, they're not actually even protesting the innocent people put in harm's way. A lot of the times when you see something like this happening with leftists protesting, it is because they are valorizing a criminal who has died. And that is exactly what you saw during the George Floyd era, and it very well may be seen for some people what you're actually doing here. Because some of these individuals may be here because of the fact of the tragic nature of what we saw with innocent people being caught in the crossfire, and then there will be others that are here because I can't believe you shot this man who charged you with a knife. completely and utterly insane. The same type of individuals who were talking about, oh my gosh, I can't believe that police officer during the Ma'Khia Bryant shooting didn't just shoot the knife out of her hand. Completely and utterly ridiculous, nonsensical people who are detached from reality and have never actually been in a tense situation where their life was on the line. And that is very, very clearly highlighted with how it is that they address certain situations when it comes to how the police have to deal with criminals. I'm going to go ahead and call it there. Thank you for watching if you got this far. Thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section down below. And my goodness fucking gracious, this was just an absolute disaster of an ordeal from the New York City police. Thumbs up if you liked it, like I said, thumbs down if you didn't. Tell me where I'm wrong, stay lovely, stay great, and most importantly, lads, as always, please go tell someone you love them. They'll appreciate it, and you'll feel better for doing it.